What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode here at La Conversaycion podcast. Once again, episode 5. That is right, episode 5. So, a little bit of details. Please subscribe, guys. I noticed that you haven't subscribed. You guys, all of you watch the channel. Subscribe to the channel right there. And hit the notification bells because I'll be posting every week, guys. I told you I'll be posting every week. All right. So, today we have another great guest. So, I'm going to give him a little intro. I told him I was going to give him a little intro. Here we go. Ready? It takes dedication and hard work to be someone in this artistic industry. Over the years, he has overcome so many tough obstacles that made him the person he is today. He's an amazing choreographer, an incredible dance teacher, and a personal friend. Welcome to Conversaycion, Nelson Arizmendi.
Thanks.
How was that?
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. How you been? How's life?
It's pretty good. Just been working a lot.
Yeah.
Right now it's starting to slow down, but I'm still
Winter
working.
season, you know.
Yeah.
Se para todo.
Yeah, with events it slows down a little bit at the dance studio, but right now I'm working on a show, so that's pretty much where my focus is right now.
Yes.
Yeah,
We're gonna talk about that show in a little bit about it too, so you guys can all come by and check it out. Okay, so let's talk about your journey. Okay, as you found yourself in this artistic industry, right? So let's talk about your childhood first. So where are you from?
So I was born and raised here in the Lake County area,
Okay.
primarily Waukegan. My background, so my roots, meaning my parents, they are Salvadorian and Mexican.
Okay.
But like I said, I was born here.
You were born here.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you visit Mexico or Salvador?
Yeah, both places. I have been to both places a couple times.
Which one's
Both.
the best? El Salvador or Mexico?
I like both, but
Okay.
because when I've gone to Mexico, it has been more with like friends and stuff. So
Okay.
in El Salvador, that's where my family is. So I mean, I wouldn't say that one is better than the other,
See.
but I definitely get more connected to El Salvador because of my family.
Because of your family's
Yes.
there and your roots.
My
basically.
roots, yeah, my grandparents.
But you said your
especially.
dad's from Mexico. Does
my
he
dad is from
travel
Mexico.
to Mexico all the time, or?
I did not grow up with my dad, so
Interesting.
so I don't really
Okay.
know a lot of the
Okay.
family from Mexico. But when I've gone, it's been with like friends,
friends.
and stepdad. Yeah.
Got you. I got you. Tell me a little bit about El Salvador, because I really don't know a lot of El Salvador. I don't travel, right? Especially El Salvador. ¿Qué hay allá? You know?
So El Salvador is known a lot for the playas, so definitely that. They actually host the annual competitions for like surfing and stuff. So they have very nice,
Yeah,
nice
nice
playas
playas.
for sure. The food, if you like pupusas, then you can't go
Yeah.
anywhere else but to El Salvador to get the best pupusas.
Are you sure? Is that a fact?
That's a fact.
You're gonna
yeah,
fight
that's
against
fact.
a lot
Unless-
of. That's a fact, guys.
Unless it's my grandma making them here, then, then yeah. But if not, for sure. The food, and for myself personally, just family, being able to see where my grandparents come from, where my mom grew up,
Yeah.
going back there with family. We went back about a couple years ago. It's probably about 4 years ago, I think we went as a big family.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was very nice to see where my grandparents, grew
Originated.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
like where my mom spent her childhood and
Yeah,
all.
it's so crazy, right? When you go back to your roots, you're like, my grandparents lived here, and now the life
Yeah.
that I have is so different. And are your grandparents still alive? Are they seeing
Yes.
you?
So
Okay.
both my mom's parents are alive. They are now living in El Salvador.
Okay.
So they used to pretty much spend half a year here in the U.S., half a year back in El Salvador.
Yeah.
But right now, they've been for over almost 2 years in El Salvador. So
Gotcha.
they're kind of there.
Some grandparents do that. My grandparents used to do that just because of the winter. They hate the winter. They don't want to
Yeah.
be here. It gets too cold. So
Yeah.
I totally understand it, and it happens.
Mhm.
But maybe one day we can build a house. That's a vacation house over there in
Salvador, yeah.
Salvador or in Mexico.
Yeah, right now that's what we're working on.
Yeah, that's
Making
what
a home.
I've been telling my wife. I'll be like, hey, we're gonna build either a house in Morelos or Guanajuato,
Yeah.
like something. Like when we get a visit over there, we have our own place.
Travel.
So
Yeah,
travel,
for sure.
stay in our own place. Okay, so Then you originated here, so you're from the United States.
Mhm.
So when did you determine dancing was your passion, or how did that become?
So, growing up, having like those family parties, Christmas parties, Thanksgiving, pretty much just the family gatherings for the holidays. That's really when I found a spark within dance because of my grandma. So my grandma was actually very into dance,
Okay.
rock and roll. I grew up with my grandparents. My mom had me at a pretty young age,
So
so I actually was living with my grandparents for a couple of years growing up, and
mhm.
so I was more attached to them. So my grandma was basically the one that I would see dancing, and she's like, oh,
Mhm.
like she would always grab me to be her dance partner at the family gatherings. So that's pretty much what sparked up something with dance. But growing up, sometimes the Latino culture, the Hispanic culture, dance is not something seen as, like, oh, you can make a career off of dance, or
That is true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like like sometimes our culture lacks education within the performing arts in general. So um, that's why I didn't really do it as a kid, like professionally, or like even taking like dance classes or started anything like that.
Okay.
It was until my senior year in high school where I actually took like the initiative to take a dance class, to want to do something with it, and then from there it just
Like the high school
picked
had
up.
like a club or something like that, or what do you mean?
So we had a dance club, and we also, at that time that I was a senior, males were allowed to do cheer.
Hmm.
So that was like kind of like what sparked up also, so like a want to do something, but I still didn't have the confidence to be that male to be in the cheer team. But that same year, as my senior year, it was my cousin's quinceañera. So that's what actually got me my first, like, I would say, like my first legit choreographer experience. So I did her quince. I was
Hmm.
18 at that time. Then from there, her friends were like, "Hey, can you teach me my quince?" And it just kept on building up
So you were the teacher for your cousins.
for my
Oh, I thought you
cousins.
danced in your cousins.
So I dance slash choreograph slash
Oh,
MC
you were
slash
everything.
DJ, mix the music and
Gotcha. And you were
everything.
18 only.
And I was 18, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So pretty much liked it growing up. Never did it until I was 18,
Yeah.
and from there never stopped until now. Well, I'm
Well, I mean,
still
hopefully you're
I'm
not
still
stopping.
not stopping, right? But
Right.
it's
It's
still
still
a working
evolving, and you're
process.
like,
I'm still involved in it, and it's just been better than it ever has, to be honest.
right, right.
Mhm.
Well, I want to talk about that because you did open your own studio on 2017,
Mhm.
right? What were some obstacles that you encountered when that happened?
So the main obstacle was my age, I would say. That a lot
Okay.
of people, for me, it was never an obstacle, really, but for people, they view it as an, oh, like, you're young. I was 22,
Okay.
I believe. 22. Yeah, I was 22 when I opened up the dance studio. So when I try to reach out, I remember reaching out to the mayor in Waukegan around that time, like, hey, like, I was born and raised here in Waukegan. I want to bring something to the community. I see a lot of talent, especially in our Latinos. I'm like, there's a lot of talented kids. There's a lot of
Yeah.
talented teens. They need those resources. They need, to have something like that, because in Waukegan, at the time, the only dance studio there was, I believe, like part of like the YMCA, or they used to have like a
Okay.
YMCA.
But that's nothing
But
like.
even that wasn't very structured. I
Right.
mean, not to diminish, whatever they were doing it there, but it just wasn't like something that like I saw that was
Yeah.
like year round, or like structured, or that kids can actually come and get educated, not just learn dance moves, but
Dance
also
movement and just like
learn,
leave.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, learn like not just technique, but also like where dance comes from, like pretty much like a dance education versus just
That's
come
what I was
in.
gonna ask you.
Yeah.
Do you educate each member of your
Yeah,
team?
so at the studio, what I do there, we don't just teach dance moves. We try, well, I speak in plural because it's, like a team. I
Yeah.
consider, us a team there, even though I'm the main instructor. But I try to teach them like the history of dance, the names of the moves that they're doing, especially once it comes to ballet class. I tell them, if you ever go to a dance audition, you're not just gonna show up and do moves, especially like for like a ballet or something. Um, you pretty much get in the room and they tell you, okay, the first thing we're gonna do at the bar is two pliés into a tendu, and at that point, if you don't know what that means,
I have no clue.
they don't even look at you. You're just like already out. So part of that, it's like, okay, you know, if you're gonna be a great dancer, then you also have to know the history, or like, you know, what you're doing, not just throw in and do movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I have no clue any of those words are.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I guess as an artist, you have to learn or know what you're doing and where's it coming from, right? So it's amazing that you're doing that to your students or people that come by and be like, hey, I want to learn this. But you said something about your age. So they didn't want you to give you the building?
Yeah,
or
so...
because you were 22.
Yeah, so the thing with the age was that I think that at least the people that I reached out to, like I said, going back to that about sending a letter to the mayor to tell him that I wanted to do this in the community and all that. So I never got a response. And I like personally went to the office. It's not even the mayor.
No, it's that's what happens to you, mayor.
Ya fue hace tiempo. Pero sí, yeah, so because of, I don't know if it was maybe like the age or maybe just, I even think now, like, did they even open the letter? You know, like, because I went to the office and like personally like gave it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but even that, like, a lot of people will be like, oh, I want to open up, like, you know, like a dance studio. I think it will be nice, you know, like, they'd be like, wait, but don't you think it's too soon, or you're just 22? And even the whole building thing, they're like, the person that first rented me the building, they're like, well, how do we know that you're gonna keep up with the payment? You know, like, you're this age, like everyone that has been in business, you know, like the first 2-3 years, like, it doesn't work out, or, you know, like, just like comments like that I say this confidently, I knew that I was gonna make it. Yeah. You know, so
you were determined to be like,
yeah, so that
I know I can put the hard work and I'm gonna pay you.
Yeah, so that wasn't something that I got scared about, but then also something that, like, my mom always like instilled in me was that you never know if things are gonna work unless you go for it.
Yes.
So that's always been my thing. Okay, you know, like, if I don't try it, then I'm gonna end up like regretting it, or later on thinking like, oh, I should have, I could have.
Yes.
So I just went for it, and
that's a great mentality, because I tell that to especially my oldest, Eric. He wants to try things. I'm like, might as well do it. If you get neglected because of whatever reason, at least you try. You didn't say, oh, I didn't make it because, you know, I didn't never try. And now he's a male cheerleader right now.
Nice.
He's in band. He wants to be volleyball, but he can't do everything. He's in drama. So he's in getting himself involved with a lot of things. You know, and we are so proud of him.
That's awesome.
So, and that's just one. We still got the other two, and we'll see what happens with those two eventually. But yeah, determination is what will get you into it, you know? Let's talk about a little about your family. How did they take this? Like, okay, Mom, I'm going to determine that I want to be dancing. I'm going to put my studio. This is going to be my career from now on. Were they scared? Were they supportive? What happened there?
So, I mean, that's one thing that I'm very thankful for my family, because they've been supportive since day one, especially my mom. Okay. My mom has always been supportive. She's always been the one to say, do it, you know, push yourself. How can I help you get there? What can we do? What can your sisters and I do to, you know, to help you? They're like my backbone in everything that I do, and they're also the reason why I want to do even more, the reason why I want to be successful, just because, you know, to mainly my mom, to care for my mom, because I know she's done a lot for us. So it's like the one thing that I can do is pay her back by just, you know, doing the best that I can be, being the best version of myself. So yeah, so my family has definitely always been very, very helpful. It was never are you sure?
Yeah, like
it was always
careers,
no, never. It was always just like, okay, go for it. When I was in dance school, they missed not one show. They've always been there to all my shows. So yeah, they're like my number one supporters.
Yeah, that's how that's amazing. And every time I interview somebody, that's what they tell me. Like, my family's always supportive. Yeah. And that's great, because imagine if you didn't get support from them. You know, you will feel in so much doubt that you have to prove it to them as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you don't have that supportive system right there.
Mhm.
But it's great that you have it.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
definitely.
We're gonna take a little break, in a little bit, and he's gonna tell us about how many shows he has done.
Okay.
And he does a lot of shows for quinceañeras too,
Yeah.
though. So we'll be right back with this commercial. Guys, so we are back from commercial. So yeah, we're gonna talk about quinceañeras. You're a choreographer. Just so you know, I've been trying to practice that word so much. Okay, choreographer. See, ya me sale bien. You choreographer so many people, especially quinceañeras, sweet 16s, even weddings.
Mhm.
How many have you done this past year?
So this season, from January to last weekend, so quinceañeras, I've done about 45. I think 3 weddings,
Okay.
2 dance shows, and a national pageant.
National pageant.
Mhm.
That is crazy. We're gonna talk about the pageant in a little bit, but since you're teaching a lot of variety of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which one is the most difficult? Adults or like the young, the young teens that are like they wanna goof around sometimes, but they're paying attention to you.
So, what I would say, I don't want to classify like a certain group as the most difficult
Okay.
because I get a little bit of everything.
Yes.
But like group wise, it is easier to teach the teens.
Really?
A little bit easier to teach the teens.
Mira, yo pensaba que era al
Mhm.
revés.
But the teens that are my students at the studio, not really much of the teens of the quinceañeras. Because the way that I explain it is like sometimes with quinceañeras, they bring in their chambelanes,
Sí.
and like at times they're kids that are only in it because they're cousins or because they're the siblings or something, so they don't really want to be there. So that them already not wanting to be there is already adding a little bit, of
It's a red flag.
yeah, like
basically.
it's already that for the reason that it's like, well, I'm only here because she's my sister, because she's my cousin. So that's where it gets a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
The teens are a little bit easier to teach. My teens, and I call it my teens because they're kids that are registered at the dance studio to take dance classes. They're there because they want to learn. So that's the big difference about teaching sometimes teens that come in with quinceañeras,
Yes.
or just kids in general that come in with quinceañeras, and then versus kids that come in because they want to learn, and they're it came out of them saying, hey, I want to go take a dance class, or mom signed me up for a dance class.
For a dance
and
class,
all.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, if a quinceañera doesn't have chambelanes, are you guys will provide the chambelanes with yourself as well?
Yeah, so we do have a group of chambelanes. So I
Okay.
call it like the CM Dances Studio Dancers.
Okay.
So that's a group that I've built. So the way that I get these guys, it's from quinceañeras that I've done in the past.
Okay.
I see like a guy that I'm like, okay, you know what, this kid is pretty good at dancing.
Yeah.
With a little bit more coaching, with a little bit more preparation, he can be a very good dancer.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how I build my little dance.
That is amazing because
Yeah.
let me tell you, back in the day, I did a couple quinceañeras, right? Like every Latino has probably. And I wish something like this has happened, because I would have done your class back in the day, because I used to like dancing, especially in quinceañeras.
Yeah.
But that's awesome that you're taking kids that are interested, in teaching them, and you have your own group now in
Mhm.
case like quinceañera can't find, or they are nowhere they're like, I don't want to do it no more.
Mhm.
That is amazing. So what about Sweet 16s? I don't see a lot of Sweet 16s on your portfolio, or is that like as an option too? Or
So Sweet 16s have actually been a bigger thing last year and this year, for the reason that all of those quinces that were quinceañeras that got held back
oh yeah,
during
'cause of
COVID are now
COVID.
Sweet
Screw
16,
COVID. Yeah.
But so it's a little bit more common now, and I feel like from here on it's probably gonna be just a common thing,
yeah.
Just there's still all those events that got backed up.
See.
but it's pretty much the same thing as a quinceañera. They still
Yeah.
wear the big dress. They still have the vals, the
So casi
coronación,
todo lo
zapatilla.
mismo.
Todo lo mismo. It's just the fact that because they're 16, they want to be presented as like, oh, aquí viene la, la sweet 16 instead of la quinceañera or
¿Cómo se
whatever.
dice? Sweet 16? ¿Cómo
I
se dice en
usually
español?
pretty much when I host the events and I announce it, I just say la festejada,
La
just
festejada.
because, yeah,
Sí,
there's
se
really
suena
no
como
way,
diferente en español,
yeah,
right?
so yeah, la festejada or la princesa de la noche
Yeah.
or just something,
But-
corny. Yeah.
But it's so crazy, right? COVID kind of screwed everybody up, even when
Mhm.
your events happened. How did that affect you though? Like personally, when that happened to you?
So it did affect me a lot actually,
Yeah.
to the point where I almost had to close down the studio. Yeah. So yeah, it was very tough during that time for sure.
Right.
I had to like find like a side job. I would do like low key classes even though we weren't supposed to.
Dios
So
mío.
yeah.
Stop everybody.
Yeah, so like I would still do like a couple classes here and there, but more like private sessions.
Yeah.
So like adults mainly. Kids I rarely wouldn't see kids during COVID. Yeah.
No.
So it was like adults, like, oh, my husband and I have been home for 3 months off of work. Can we take a dance class? It's like, yeah, we can
Oh
take
no! Wait,
it.
really?
Like
and you would
stuff
just
like
go
that.
to their house?
They'll come to the studio.
Oh,
So
okay,
they'll still
okay.
have to come into the studio, but it'll be like a couple with
Yeah.
myself. With like, obviously we had to wear masks and all that
No,
stuff. But
yeah,
it was
all the
but it was just
regulation.
much easier, and that kept me moving a little bit. Yeah. So.
Interesting. Okay, but yeah, that kind of sucks, like about COVID, and you had almost to close down your
Mhm.
doors, because of that. But now you're doing great.
Yes,
You're
it
doing
just
fantastic.
yeah, it just picked up, which I figured it will pick up, but we just needed that to be
Done. We are done with COVID. There's no COVID, guys. It doesn't exist.
It does.
What? It's true. Don't you think it's COVID's done? ¿O te vas a poner la vacuna otra vez?
Probably not. I got 2, but they keep on messaging me to get the other.
Hey, get the third one. I have 3. I got 3.
Yeah, I think I got 2.
They want to
2?
put
I
the
forgot
4,
already. I
but
think I got
don't
2.
want to. No. Ya con 3 ya estamos bien. Maybe the flu shot, and that's it. What was the toughest obstacle that you overcame in your career so far?
The toughest obstacle, and it's gonna be kind of funny, will probably be that it's only one of me, to be honest. So like, meaning like, there's so much stuff
Oh,
that I
that's what
want to
you mean.
do, or that like more events that I
Uh-huh.
want to do. At times I have to like reject working with certain customers just because I don't have time. So like, to me I consider that an obstacle, because I
Yeah.
could be doing more if I had the help.
Yeah.
But it's only one of me.
One of you.
Yeah, and also like wanting to pursue even more things on a personal level. I love the studio. I love working with kids and everything, but there is times where I'm like, okay, I've done a lot for the studio. What can I do for me? How can I grow as a professional? How can I grow as a dancer? Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to reach out to somebody that maybe... Are you hiring right now? Do you
I'm
think-
always looking for people. So I'm always looking for, possible teachers. And,
Okay, okay.
I've had people reach out in the past.
Yes.
I'm going to be very honest. I am a little bit...
He's a perfectionist.
I'm a little bit picky with who I allow to come into the studio, only because I've built this from the bottom,
Yeah.
and I know how hard I've worked to make it be where it's at, where I try to be careful who comes into the studio and who I allow to be around my students, my
Okay.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
just-
do a whole background check and everything.
Not a
FBI, CIA
not-
background check.
not
and
so
everything.
much like that, but just
No, but I
like-
understand. It's your baby, and you're like, okay,
Yes,
I need
definitely
to I
that.
need to take care of my baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally understand. You just don't want to, just let it borrow to anybody.
Mhm.
I totally
Yeah,
understand
and then
that.
also I've had people reached out like coaches from like high school teams, and I'm like,
Interesting.
okay, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm a high school palms teacher, and it's like that to me is already like, that's not like I said, I don't by any means mean to like say that's not like dance, but I feel like dance, you have to have a foundation,
Okay.
not just something that's like,
I only
I teach at a high school.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Do you go on like a deep interview with them? I'm
Yes.
assuming, and you're
Yeah.
like, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah, so I have in the past where I at least require them to have some type of dance training,
Yeah.
like either preferably like some type of dance training, or like in a studio dance training. Yeah, once it comes to them wanting to work with me as a teacher.
Yeah.
What I do coach is master of ceremonies for events. So at events, there's weekends where we will book like 5 events for a weekend, and it's
Yeah.
just myself and my good friend Paola, which I believe you
I
met
met
Paola
her
at one
once,
of the
yeah.
shows. Yeah, she's our
Yeah.
host. So she's been very helpful.
Yeah.
So between her and I, we've been able to take care of events. But if we were to have the help, then we're able to book more events
More
and
events.
have that help. And once it comes to that it can just be someone that's good at public speaking and would like to join the team as a host.
Any MCs
Yeah,
want to
so,
reach out?
yeah.
Maybe.
And we coach, so we
Yeah,
train.
He coaches. Look at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, so
Maybe I'll apply. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? That is great, dude. I mean, at least you're getting some type of help,
Mhm.
right, with Paola. So, during this quinceañera process, what is the most fulfilling thing that has happened when you're doing the dances and you finish the finish line? You're at the finish line. What fulfills you when the whole thing is done?
So definitely the reviews, for sure. This
Yeah.
year has been amazing for that. Like this year, like with our events, like we've been like the parents right away, like, oh my god, thank you so much. It was more than I expected.
Yeah.
Or yeah, just definitely that.
The reviews and everything.
It's just the reviews after the event is done. And then the quinceañeras too, seeing how everything started, and then the final product. How at first maybe they were super shy, they didn't know how to dance, and then out of nowhere it's like boom, like in the process of like 10 weeks, it's like a whole nother girl. And even the parents are like, oh my god, I never thought that my daughter would have pulled this off. So it's those moments at the end, those comments at the end,
Yeah.
make the entire process like nice, like
a
worth it.
fulfillment, kind of
Yeah, like it makes
joy.
me feel good, and it's
Yeah,
like okay,
yeah.
like like they were happy, and
I did my job.
I did my job. Yeah.
I do have some comments before we go on break, but
Mhm.
here's a couple comments that says, wow, mil gracias por todo, hiciste un trabajo maravilloso. Gracias por todo, tu paciencia, eres todo un profesional, todos los buenos comentarios que escuché del buen trabajo que hiciste, créeme que están encantada y feliz por el resultado. Muchísimas gracias. That was one of them.
Yeah.
And you have a bunch of them, right?
Yeah.
I could read a lot of them. But okay, back in my day, it was a typical dance all the
Mhm.
time. But you don't do that. You literally don't do that.
Not at all.
Why not? You want to be different, obviously, but why don't you keep it to the same back in the day? Like
So, the thing with me is that having a dance background, going to school for dance,
yeah,
I feel like that's what sets me aside from other people that might do the same thing.
yeah,
Or so for example, once it comes to the dances, I try to tell the girls to do something more modern, less traditional. The difference between modern and traditional, as I explain it to them, is traditional is going to be music like Tiempo de Vals, which is
Tiempo
like
de Va- I love that song.
yeah.
Don't you love that song, guys? Come on.
Vals de las Mariposas.
Yes.
Like a lot of things that back then possibly like worked, but now if you take a look at the dresses that the girls have, they're much more elegant.
Yes.
They're con colas, like trains on them. So ya
Yes.
los estilos de ahorita son más modernos a
Sí.
lo de antes.
A lo de antes.
So like si te pones a bailar Tiempo de Vals con un vestido con luces y todo, it's to me like it doesn't fit.
Yes.
But I always do what the client says. So if the client's like, hey, well, like we really want to do Tiempo de Vals, we really want to do Vals de las Mariposas, or, like music like that, I'm like, okay, we can do it, but just, it's going to limit what I can do. I'm like, and I'm known for the different work that I do, which is more modern, like
Yes.
using props, the lifts, and the scenery, just all of that is part of what I offer that's going to make me stand out compared to somebody else that might be doing quinceañeras.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, and it's totally true, because I went to the Instagram, and I was searching you.
Mhm.
And all the quinceañeras, todos los bailes eran diferentes. And they were amazing. Some of them, I was like, holy crap.
Mhm.
Obviously, the parents had the idea, right? But you
Mhm.
put the whole
Mhm.
choreography together.
Yeah.
The whole su vestimiento, como se visten, los chambelanes. Even in some of them, I saw some
Mhm.
pictures.
Yeah.
And they were all kind of like different. They were all different. And they were amazing.
Mhm.
They were great. So, ¿estás contratado para mi hija
Sí.
en unos 13 años?
13 años. Hopefully I'm not
How old is she?
retired.
10 years, actually. Hopefully you're still in the industry.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a couple more questions. We're going to take a little break, but when we come back, actually, you're going to tell me if this is it. What is next for Nelson? What are we going to do? Is this
Alrighty.
just going to teach? Or, choreography is the it? Well, what's the dream?
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna go on a break. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, so we are back. So let's talk about your life. So there are several moments in your life that when you say, I think I made it. Are you there already? Or what is next for you? What do you want to do?
So, I am a believer that you're never going to reach your highest potential.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I am happy where I'm at the moment, but I know that there's a lot more that I want to pursue, a lot more goals, a lot more visions for the studio.
Sick.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like I'm still at the start.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that because I think even for me, when the YouTube, I'm still starting. You know, your dance, I think you're starting. You're young. You just don't know where you're gonna land, right? So that's crazy because at the same time, from teaching kids, from choreographing other people, even a pageant you just mentioned. How did that happen? The pageant when I believe in my notes on the what was the pageant that you did? The pageant Miss Grand United States pageant.
Yes.
How did that happen?
So,
Tell me your experience.
okay. So, Paola,
okay.
the MC, so my friend, she's more than
So
just,
amiga?
yeah, she's more of a friend, a very good friend. She was competing in one of the systems, so she was competing in Miss Grand
Okay.
a couple years ago. So one of her friends, he reached out. His name's Edgar. He's now our stage manager. So, yeah, so he reached out and
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey, would you like to send like a good luck video to Paola? We're making," because she was believe she was in Thailand when she competed.
Oh,
yeah,
snap.
because it's in the international pageant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was competing in Thailand, and then he reached out and he's like, you should, send her something. And so I sent her a good luck video. I went through him, and then when it was like he had like a viewing party, so I went to that viewing party. Then from there I really got involved more into the pageants and like actually wanting to learn about pageants, how they worked and all. So he was a dancer too. So he used to dance.
He used to dance before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was already like a click between him and I. That
Yeah.
That he was a dancer, that I dance, and then so pretty much he started teaching me about pageants, inviting me more to pageants until I became like his right hand man.
Okay.
So what he is in charge during the pageant is pretty much everything that has to do with production. So music, lights, staging, coaching the girls, doing their entrances, their exits, pretty much what you see on TV.
Yeah.
That's the final product
final
of
product?
what you see. That's technically what he does. So what I do now is I help him out.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what got me into pageants. So we do the national pageant. So the way that works is we get girls from the States, and then they compete to see who's going to represent USA in the international level.
Oh, snap.
Mhm.
So you're
Yeah.
still in the pageant world right now? Like,
Yes.
so wait, are you a judge? No. So what's your title there?
So the title for me
Uh-oh.
is like the assistant
Okay.
of
Okay. of the.
Of he's like, I think, the executive. I'll have to get back to you.
He's an executive.
Executive producer, I think it is.
Okay.
Something
Okay.
with producer. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what executive producer. So I'm like the assistant. So pretty much there's times where um he's like, hey, choose what the backgrounds are gonna be for the final show or for
Okay.
the swimsuit competition, for
Yeah.
the evening gown competition. So I help him out during rehearsals as well.
Yeah.
So when we run the national pageant, we run about 4 systems at once. So it's
Okay.
like 4 pageants at once. So like
Yeah.
I'll take care of like 2 groups as he takes care of 2 groups. We come up with the choreography for the opening number. So
Mhm.
the opening number is pretty much what you see as soon as the show starts. So like, so they start off with that like a small dance, like a runway / dance. So during like we come up during the dance rehearsals and all that, and just teach it to the girls.
Damn. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot that you do. Pageants, choreography for the quinceañeras, teaching kids. You do a lot. That's what you say. Like, I wish I had another person just like.
Yeah, so that's my obstacle, not having
obstacle.
enough time, hours in the day.
Yeah. How do you have a social life?
to do
You
as
try
much.
to socialize with friends and everybody, but it seems like you're a busy
Yeah,
guy.
it's kind of hard sometimes to socialize, and then that's something that I do have to work on a little bit. You know, like
Balance
to
everything.
try to balance.
But it's
things.
sacrifice, right? Like you're sacrificing a career that you want with
Mhm.
the family and social everything. But pues, you had to sacrifice something.
Mm-hmm,
right?
yeah, and it's sometimes seasonal. So like the whole things with the quinceañeras, it's like seasonal. Like right now we're, like mid-October
Yep.
type of So
mid-October.
right now it slows down already. So like technically after this show we're working on, I'm done for the year. I don't start back up until January. So
okay, so you got some downtime.
And that's
especially
really when
the holidays. So that's good. That's good.
Mhm.
So with this production that you're helping an assistant, you had your own shows, right? Is that helping with the shows that you're doing lately, or is that something before the pageants?
So the thing with this pageant is that it happens at the most busiest time of the year for quinceañeras. so
Right.
so the pageant runs usually like around June.
Yeah,
Yeah, and June is the peak of
of everything.
events with quinceañeras. So I try to prepare myself in advance. So like right now I already know dates for pageants.
Yeah.
So Edgar, my friend, he just told me a couple days ago, hey, the pageant's gonna be this week, so I already set myself in advance when I start booking events for quinceañeras,
So you book around
knowing
it.
what my week is gonna be, because this pageant thing is probably the one thing in the year that I do that's definitely so much different than what I do at the studio,
Yeah.
because it does not involve anything with like quinceañeras,
So,
teaching.
so this is basically
kids.
something like for you,
Something
right?
for me.
You're like,
yeah.
I'm putting everything for
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
That's it. You do have a show coming up though, in November
Mhm.
6th. Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to let our listeners know when is that happening?
Yes, so it's our studio's 10th dance production actually. So it's our 10th dance show. It's called Kaleidoscope. That is gonna be on November 6th. It is a Sunday evening. It's doors open at 6. The show starts at 6:30. The location for the show, it's at the Gordon Center, so the Gordon Community Center, I believe it's
This is
called.
the one we went last time, right?
Yeah, it's
okay.
located in Lake Forest, right across the street from the train station. So that show is open to the public.
Okay.
For tickets, the way that tickets work is we have tickets at the studio. Tickets are $12 per person. At the door, you are allowed to get tickets. They are $15 at the door. The only thing is that we've had some shows sold out prior to
Oh.
even the show day.
Oh,
So at
some
that
people are starting
time-
to show up and they're like, oh, it's sold out.
Yeah, it's sold out, and the thing with there is that once it hits max capacity, then there's no
That's it.
seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's now an extra show later at 10 o'clock,
Um,
maybe? No,
no.
just one show?
No, it's kids. They gotta be out of there by 8 to be
They
in
can
bed.
skip school
It's
the
a
next
Sunday
day.
night. So
Come on.
yeah, they're in the show. It's pretty much consisting of anyone that comes to the studio to take a dance class.
Sí.
So starting with the kids from ballet class, ages 5 up to, I think my oldest student right now is 24.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
That's very
24.
interesting.
Yeah, so jazz, contemporary, ballet, hip hop, bachata, quinceañeras, a full-on dance production that I always try to push people to come and watch, especially our culture,
Yeah.
because it exposes them to something very, very different. It is nothing like a quinceañera. We're talking about a professional dance showcase, costumes, lights,
It is.
camera.
I believe you,
it's
because me
everything.
and my family went to one of the
Yeah.
shows, and I was, woo, it was
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I was expecting something different, but this one
Yeah.
was different, but it
Mhm.
was crazy amazing.
Yeah.
It was good, bro. We're gonna try to make it. I was gonna ask you about the tickets.
Uh-huh.
Some tickets. But anyways, show your love, guys. Go to the show. Reach out to him on the Instagram. Where can they reach you at the Instagram?
So
or
either
Facebook?
Instagram or Facebook at CM Dance S Studio.
Okay.
Yeah, so I try to emphasize on the S Studio because
Studio.
it's not, it's ES. So CM Dance S Studio.
Studio.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I researched that, and I'm like, it says Studio.
Yeah.
In
I wanted to
Spanish.
be a little bit different.
Okay.
So I'm like S Studio.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Last segment. We have a couple of rapid questions.
Mhm.
If you're into it,
All right.
You ready?
Sure. I'll see.
just tell me what you think. You know, you can elaborate if you would like. It's all up to you. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Best vacation you ever had?
The okay, for sure. All right, this one's easy. So the best vacation I ever had was back in 2016. I was in China, and it was through dance. That's actually what made me come back in 2017 and open up the dance studio.
Oh,
I was able to travel abroad through a scholarship
yeah.
and do dance in China, teaching dance in China, travel to 5 different cities to perform. It was like a mini tour that we took from the U.S. to China. So
Yeah.
so the reason why that was the best
what?
vacation was because that's what gave me the confidence to say, this is meant for you. Go back home and do what you got to do to make this happen for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long was that vacation? Like, oh,
That
trip?
vacation was like a 3-week session, so it was like a quick study abroad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like a quick vacation, but it had a big impact.
Very
Mhm.
interesting. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Jeez. Worst experience with the choreography?
The worst experience.
You don't need to say names or anything, but you know.
No, I won't say names, but
No.
even if I say, they probably know who it is if they watch this.
Who's gonna watch
So,
that Conversation podcast? If they're not subscribed, they probably won't even watch it.
No, I'll be very honest.
All right.
I wouldn't say I've had like a worst experience or like a bad experience with dance. I've never been injured, anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so no, I
have.
can't really
Okay.
I can't really say, and hopefully it doesn't get
doesn't
to a worst
happen.
experience ever.
Hey, I wish you the
Yeah.
best. You know.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. I think you answered this by how many events have you had in one weekend? Like the most in one weekend?
The most events in one weekend has been this year, July 23rd. We had 6 quinceañeras
6 quinceañeras
Yeah.
in one weekend.
and one Saturday.
Well, just one Saturday.
Yeah, like one Saturday.
Holy How did
Yeah.
you manage that? Because you're the MC and then Paola helps
And Paola, yeah.
you. And how far are they from? Like,
Okay,
that's
so
my thing. Like, how do you do that?
So, the thing with once I start booking events,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I have to ask where they're at and the times that they want their presentations to be, like their ceremony to be. So we pretty much, like, let's say here in Waukegan. So for example, I'll just give the example of last weekend. So
Okay.
last weekend we were at Paris. We had Paris Banquet Hall in North Chicago. They have 2 halls within the same establishment. So we had both quinces. So pretty much what happened there is while Paola was presenting one side, one quince, I was presenting the other quince.
Okay.
And then from there, I left to present another quince somewhere else. So we try to like split it where we know that we can make it.
Yeah.
So and like we're very strict on like, okay, the contract says that your ceremony is starting at 7, we
It's
need to start at 7.
7.
It does not matter if whatever's, your backtrack on food or whatever. Our contract is 7.
7 o'clock.
We have another commitment to present the next quince at another salon at 8:15. So
Yeah, and depending on the drive, you could be driving from Waukegan all the way to like Lake Zurich or whatever. Chicago sometimes you do, right? Or Wisconsin también?
yeah, the furthest I've driven to this year was Berlin, Wisconsin, which was a 2.5-hour drive to make it to the salon.
Madre.
But I felt even more bad for the quinceañera because she came 10 times to the dance studio in Waukegan. We only go the day of the quince.
Yeah. But you are showing so much commitment though. You're showing so much commitment right here. But that's crazy. That's amazing. 2 hours though.
Yeah, like 2.5. Yeah.
Commitment right here. I'm just saying. You're committed. Let's talk about food. Conchas or donuts?
I like donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Why not conchas? Why not conchas?
Well, you said pick one. So.
I know, but I thought you were gonna pick conchas. I was like, obviously, pero
I feel like donuts come in so many different.
también conchas.
Conchas, you just got like the white, it's the same thing, just the
Alright.
color.
That is true.
Donuts, you got the.
I'm
the
gonna
ones
throw
filled.
a curveball. Let's say that you pick conchas, right? La Luz or Carinas?
Probably Carinas.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I'm a little bit more familiar with the stuff that they
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
To be honest, I don't want to insult them, but La Luz conchas is a little too airy. I'm sorry. I don't care. It's me. I said it, not him. Okay. Okay. Favorite food to eat?
My favorite food is probably
No me digas que donas.
no conchas. No.
Conchas.
Italian food. I really love pastas.
Okay.
I'm a big pasta and like
What's your favorite
Yeah.
pasta?
um
Fettuccine?
yeah.
Okay.
This like a seafood Alfredo.
Okay.
Yeah,
Con
anything
camarones.
Alfredo sauce. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wine or beer?
Wine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wine.
probably
Okay. Okay. I never see you drink wine though. I mean, I don't know. Every time that we hang
You
out,
never
it's like
you
beer.
never bring wine.
I don't
though.
know that. I'm gonna bring
You always
wine.
get-
Which one, white or red? Which one do you like?
The white.
The white is more
Yeah.
sweeter.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, I really thought that red was sweeter because I was like, it's coming from like maybe
It's más
cherries.
seca.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sí, pero
yeah.
está seca. Está como, ugh, I don't like it. But the white one's pretty good. And last question. How do you say pencil sharpener in Spanish?
Well, the way that I know it is sacapunta.
Sacapunta. Does it sound kind of like dirty? Sacapunta.
Well, I guess if you're thinking about it there, I don't know what you're talking about. Thinking about
No, I saw this in another podcast. They were
Uh-huh.
like, how do you say how do you say that pencil sharpener? And they're like, doesn't it sound like kind of dirty in Spanish? Sacapunta, sacapunta. Anyways, guys. Well, Nelson, that is basically it for today. Thank you so much for joining us here at La Conversation Podcast. Hopefully you had a great time in this interview. The first time he was here, but
Yeah, first time.
What do you think?
I mean, anytime that has to do with what I'm passionate about, I'm always willing to,
Yeah.
to
So you're
talk
saying-
about it. My main thing is educate.
Okay.
Like, that's something I'm big on, educating communities like ours
Yes.
about what dance can do, and being that, like, trying to be that role model for kids, especially, I mean, I live in Waukegan. A lot of our students are mainly from Waukegan.
Okay.
Trying to be like that role model in the area, that it's like, okay, if he did it,
Then-
I can do it too, whether it is dance, any type of art form, modeling falls into that,
Yeah.
dibujando, just anything
Anything.
that has to do with like the arts. I'm always gonna be like an advocate for that, and
Okay.
and try to push it at the shows. I tell our parents at the end of every show. I sound very repetitive, but I always finish my shows with a speech that tells them, support your kids. Whether they come back to my studio, maybe they want to take a break and go play soccer. I'm like, whatever it is, just support your kids, because that support that as a kid you get as a parent,
Yes.
it's very important, because
Yep.
once a parent says no, the main person that I feel that as a child you try to make happy or do things for is your parents. So once you feel that your parents are not there, it can like mess you up.
Yeah,
So
it just brings your walls.
yeah, so it's like yeah,
Yeah.
as a I don't have kids, but I call all the just my studio students. I'm like my kids all the time. I spend more time with them than what I do sometimes at home. So
You have your
yeah.
baby and your kids.
Yeah.
You know, that is amazing to hear because that's something that I do with my oldest. The other two are still not too much into other things, but he has something going on, we're always there. Or
Mhm.
even if she's there or I'm there, both of us, we try to always show up. And
Mhm.
that's what I tell everybody: show up for your
Mhm,
kids.
for
you know?
sure.
You just gotta do the best you can in this
Mhm.
life,
Yeah.
and you only have one.
Yeah,
So-
if you're willing to pay for a $300 ticket to go watch Bad Bunny, you can pay for a $12 ticket
That's right.
to come watch your kid
Bad
dance.
Bunny, baby.
So yeah.
All right, Nelson. Well, thank you so much for for watching. All right, Nelson. Thank you so much for being here, and stay tuned for the next guest next week. Okay. Thanks so much. See you guys later.